Who are these overweight, fat, hormonally damaged, genderless chaps? Well, they're some of the biggest instigators of this conflict that's unfolding right now in Europe. As of course, those pudgy little soy boys might actually soon get their way, as Donald Trump has just announced more weapons and more war in Europe. All of this as a lot of people, excuse me, my light just Epsteined itself there by accident there, and so did my other camera. That's okay. We'll make sure to, of course, work with it as best as we can here. This, look at that. We got the other camera working now too. We're rocking and rolling. As geopolitically, there are more concerning updates that are unfolding right in the American discourse that I think are something that we should be worrying about. This, as of course, the situation isn't looking too good for the MAGA crowd that is being replaced by all the MIGAs. And now the MUKAs, the Make Ukraine Great Again people, as of course 5-time August just posted more weapons to Ukraine. What led up to this? How is this going to unfold and play out from here? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about in this particular video. And if you like these type of deep dives that ask the very hard questions and don't just brown nose and bootlick, subscribe, click the notification button. We definitely appreciate all the time we're able to, of course, spend together. As earlier today, the President of the United States had a press conference with the Prime Minister of Israel where they announced more aid. Why not? I mean, America's going bankrupt. We're printing money out of thin air. Purchasing power of the dollar is going down. We're complaining about very low stockpiles of missile defensive systems, ammunitions, and a lot of the other systems that we just kind of willy-nilly gave it away. And guess what? We're going to give it away even more. More aid, more money for Israel, because why not? And you know what? Let's give those Ukrainians that are in a war with one of the world's biggest superpowers some money as well, as the United States also came out and said, you know what? To add the cherry on top, we might even have to strike Iran again. Yes, you heard that correctly. This is what the President of the United States said. Said during his joint statement with Bibi Netanyahu about, and again, the decision already has been made from the people that I talked to. We have been able to successfully predict that Trump was going to bomb Iran 6 days before he did. When the Iranians retaliated, we told you it was just a show of force. They told the United States exactly what they were doing. No one was hurt here, luckily. Donald Trump then kind of made fun of the Iranians after that. But now, the Iranians are saying, hey, these UN weapon inspectors, they're kind of spying on us and giving all of our secrets away to Israel so Israel could bomb us more. So Israel clearly wants to have regime change in Iran, and they're going to get it. And they're probably going to get it under this administration. This is what Trump had to say.
What can you say, what might make you have the desire to do another strike on Iran?
Another what?
Another strike on Iran.
I hope we're not going to have to do that. I can't imagine wanting to do that. I can't imagine them wanting to do it. They want to meet. They want to meet. They want to work something out.
Can you say
they're different. They're very different now than they were 2 weeks ago.
Pete had said there, the defense secretary is kind of looking off into the distance like, oh no, we're going to have to do it again. As of course, official sources tell us that it was J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and Pete Hegseth who said, hey, please, we do not need to bomb Iran. These are, of course, anonymous sources. We don't know if it's true, but we do know that the John Boltons, the Nikki Haley's, the Lindsey Grahams got their way under Trump. And why wouldn't they get their way again? Especially now with a more bullish, a more aggressive Donald Trump that is saying, you know, that conflict in Ukraine that I said I was going to end at day one? You know what? Let's kick that up again, too. Let's start it up. Let's send more weapons down to Ukraine. As of course, the series of events that led up to this were pretty important, as there's a deal now signed between Ukraine and the United States saying, hey, if Ukraine wants more military assistance, they're going to have to give up some rare earth minerals. Now, the problem is the Ukrainians just lost a major rare earth mineral mine as well as a lithium mine, and they lost that to the Russians that are now in possession of it. Now, how will they be able to repay for the weapons? Well, it looks like Donald Trump just wants to give them more weapons for free, just like the United States has been doing under the Biden administration, as of course he also just said this during his a very eye-opening statement, as of course we have to realize here, this is all on the heels of a major cover-up effort with the Jeffrey Epstein saga, as this administration is now actively allowing child predators out there to hurt small children. Now, yeah, more sacrifices at the military-industrial complex, more, and we'll tell you why this is such a bad move in so many different ways. But this is only going to lead to tremendous amounts of chaos, tremendous amounts of disasters. We'll tell you why. Here's the clip.
Are you planning to send more weapons to Ukraine?
We're going to send some more weapons. We have to. They have to be able to defend themselves. They're getting hit very hard now. They're getting hit very hard.
Now, why are they getting hit very hard here? Well, Donald Trump took away, and this is how we knew, one of the reasons we knew why the war in Iran was going to kick off. Because 20,000 missiles that were designated for Ukraine, that Biden promised Ukraine that were about to be delivered to Ukraine, were reverted down to the Middle East. Ukraine had missile defense systems. Ukraine had anti-drone systems. All of them moved down to Israel, down to the Middle East. As, again, before playing this full clip here, as Trump's hit, like, oh no, they got hit hard. Why do you think they got hit hard? They got hit hard because we moved away all of our defensive systems. Now we're going to be giving them more systems. Some people thought maybe this is a ploy to bring peace. Nope. Peace won't be happening here for a very long time. And again, we made a lot of predictions. A lot of the predictions some people hated to the point where a lot of people were telling people to unfollow us. They put us on lists. They were like, hey, don't follow these people. They're bad people. How dare you predict the future accurately through studying this for over 20 plus years and understand that this war was going to happen? How dare you tell us exactly when this war was going to happen? And of course, if you appreciate our ability to kind of call things out here, subscribe to lukeunfiltered.com. It means the world to us. We need your support. Our gas tank is empty, especially after the major IRS attack that I sustained last year. And you guys signing up for less than 20 cents a day means the world to me. Click here, check your spam, and then this Wednesday we're doing a meetup in Milwaukee, and we're going to be doing other ones here in South Florida and Miami. So lots of really incredible fun things going on, and you guys could be a part of those fun things just by signing up to lukeunfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, again, lots of offers of value. You get to talk to me. I just shared pictures from my time in Chicago that people asked me to share. And again, I'm an open book. And I like talking to you guys in the chat room. I like meeting you guys in real life. And you all get to do that, a part of our little social club here, just by becoming a member of lukeunfiltered.com. You also get to see behind the scenes stuff that you ask for, and then you also get to be a part of this independent media organization as well here. Now, let's continue on with Trump's statements here, because there's a lot of ramifications to these statements. Now, originally, he started off with the premise like, oh no, Ukraine's getting the crap bombed out of them. They're getting the crap bombed out of them because you moved all of the defensive military capabilities, and now you're saying, yeah, oopsie, we're going to give them more weapons to continue this war instead of pressuring them to actually make a peace deal here.
We have to send more weapons. Yeah, defensive weapons primarily, but they're getting hit.
Primarily, not all of them. As of course, we have to remember, Donald Trump was the first president that came out and said, I gave Ukraine lethal weapons. Barack Obama was too afraid to give Ukraine lethal weapons. I did it. I gave it to them.
Hit very, very hard. So many people are dying in that mess.
And guess what? Hey, buddy, more people are going to die. Why? Because the Ukrainians are going to now continue this war. Already, advanced American tech is being used here. Long-range missile systems going all the way into Moscow. Sabotage, CIA assassination attempts and attacks on top Russian media personalities, on Russian infrastructure, on Russian energy. Massive amounts of hits, as of course Putin was realizing and saying, hey, it's not a coincidence that the same weapons that have been dropped on Moscow are being dropped on Tehran. They're made in the same place. They're produced in the same place. And it's not just a coincidence that that of course is happening here. As of course Dutch and Norwegian F-35s are now guarding Ukrainian supply chains and NATO airspace. I mean, this is the involvement of NATO, okay? This is the involvement, as of course Dutch and Norwegian, American-made F-35 fighter jets that have been given to them will now be stationed in Poland from September to December under NATO command to secure supply lines to Ukraine already. And again, it's just like a slow boil with us being more and more involved here. We thought like, hey, if Donald Trump's kicking off one war in the Middle East, at least he's going to try to like end this one in Ukraine by putting maximum pressure on the Ukrainians and saying, hey guys, negotiate. Hey guys, make some concessions here. And now, what is Trump doing by giving them offensive and defensive weapon capabilities? He's prolonging this conflict, which is only going to kill more Ukrainian people. It's already been pretty clear. The Ukrainians do not have a chance in beating the Russians. They just don't have enough people. They don't have enough manpower. They don't have enough resources. Sending them a little bit more resources will postpone the war for a couple days, but it's not going to end it. Saying to Ukraine, stop it, meet Russia at some of their demands, negotiate a little bit here, and try to work out a deal. Try to stop this because we're not going to support you. You guys are on your own. And this is what Donald Trump threatened to do, as of course this is another one of his promises made and promises not kept. He promised day one we're going to end it. Yeah, we're going to put maximum pressure on the Ukrainians to actually negotiate a deal here. Well, we're not doing any of that anymore. We're just going to aid and abet the military-industrial complex, drug-fueled rage of endless perpetual war, which is ridiculous, which to me is asinine and absolutely, totally backwards. As we have Steve Bannon coming out and saying, if we send these weapons, America will inexorably be drawn into the Ukraine war as a combatant. This is the European Union's war. Let Europe arm them. Let Europe send troops. As of course, Europe's not doing this. Europe is talking wild. Europe is talking crazy. Macron, Steinmeier, the German chancellor, they're all huffing and puffing their chest. They're all saber rattling. But then the Ukrainians are like, hey guys, can we get some support here? Can you guys give us some weapons, some deals here? And they're like, yeah. Best we could do is maybe we could give you a loan that you guys have to pay back at a specific high interest. You guys want that? And the Ukrainians are like, we're broke. We have no more money. We're getting screwed here. And now in comes America, like it usually does, and it, quote, saves the day for the bloodthirsty demons that want to see this war continue and expand and grow for the military-industrial complex. That's pretty much what's going on here. As Matt Kim says, 24 hours. That's how quickly the Ukraine war was supposed to end. 168 days later, many years later, we're sending more weapons to Ukraine. Why? Again, as he says, don't be mad at me for pointing out the obvious. I didn't make the campaign promises. Promises made, promises kept. I didn't say that either. But sure, blame Democrats, the rhinos, the deep state. You, accountability keeps promises. As the responses here are pretty telling here. And listen, this is an administration that clearly isn't keeping a lot of their promises, a lot of their major promises. And when we look at what's going on here, specifically with the Russians are, again, also in a very tough economic spot here. And the hope for the West is that they're going to go bankrupt, okay? But how many more people are going to lose their lives in exchange for that, okay? Now, if Russia does financially collapse here, there's going to be a lot of ramifications for that globally as well. But listen, the Russian war machine has been activated, and their economy is now more and more reliant on this kind of war machine. Now, Russia and Putin is claiming that the West is trying to strangle Russia, and he, quote, vows to turn the table and return the favor, as Putin added that Russia has offered every possible concession to cooperate in the market, but a deal, of course, fell apart here. Now, we have to understand here, Western powers are getting more and more involved here. I mean, the F-35s on the border there, securing some of the supply lines here, really do signal just the escalatory kind of markers of all of this. And it is dangerous, it is reckless, it is stupid. Russia is a nuclearly armed country, and we are seeing them also become desperate in the situations as Western powers have removed specific range restrictions on weapons supplied to Ukraine, meaning, of course, that the Ukrainians will now be able to strike deeper into Russian territory, which of course will trigger them more. Now, the Ukrainians, listen, statistically and logistically speaking here, if the Ukrainians want to win this war, what they need is a huge influx of people. Now, the Wall Street Journal is writing how Ukraine is offering money and perks for Gen Z to fight, as government programs promise as much as $24,000 as a sign-up bonus to teenagers willing to fight Russia on the front lines. And they keep lowering the age of admission. They keep making it higher as well. And there's all these videos that I keep watching of these people just like escaping as much as they can. And these recruitment officers just getting involved in these brutal conflicts and these brutal fights with all of these individuals. And it's pretty sickening to see so many people being drawn into these conflicts. Of course, there could have been many ways to avoid this. There could have been many ways that there could have been peace, there could have been a resolution. But the fact that there still isn't, the fact that we're seeing such a huge generation of people just lost forever, never ever coming back here, being promised to be replaced by migrants with BlackRock and Goldman Sachs and State Street type of policies is kind of sickening here, because we're seeing an entire generation who, by the way, already is in a major population decline, just be eviscerated from the world here. And I think the world is better off with more Slavic men, not less, in my personal opinion here. Now again, Russia and Ukraine, they are completing prisoner swaps, but that's the only thing that's really happening here. Otherwise here, Ben Shapiro loves beating the beats of war here, and he's all for a lot of this conflict, a lot of this type of insanity that, of course, has been unfolding here. A lot of back and forth here. People just don't understand how tumultuous, how crazy this situation is. Vladimir Putin once came out. I want to see come out and specifically said this, and I think it's important to see exactly what he said, because I think this kind of explains the situation that we're dealing with right now. That it's a little inconvenient. As he says, in the U.S., a person gets elected, comes in with certain ideas, then people with briefcases show up, well-dressed in dark suits like mine, and start explaining how things should be done. And suddenly, everything changes. This happens from one administration to the next. Yeah. Now, what happened with these men with briefcases, with these men in dark suits? What are they doing? I think Putin, listen, I don't like Putin. I don't agree with his political leadership. I don't like how he rules. I don't like what he does. I don't like what he stands for. But when it comes to his kind of assertion of what's going on here, this is the correct one. And listen, he's been there throughout a lot of the administrations. He said this many years ago. He didn't just say this now. He said this many years ago. But it does explain how every single presidential candidate keeps promising peace. We're going to bring the troops home. George W. Bush, we're going to be a president that's going to be a non-interventionist president. We're going to mind our own business. We're going to fix our problems at home. Barack Obama, we're going to stop all of these wars. And then he starts a whole bunch of them. Biden, again, just horrific leadership, but not as aggressive as Trump here. Let's just be honest with ourselves militarily. And Donald Trump started off very aggressive against the Houthis in Yemen, very aggressive against the secret programs that were already going on, aiding and abetting the Ukrainian. And again, the United States said that we're pulling all aid. Donald Trump started his administration saying we're cutting aid. They started negotiating tough with Ukraine. And they said, we're cutting it. They were secretly financing the Ukrainian drone program with hundreds of millions of dollars when Trump said, we're cutting all aid. They were still secretly giving a lot of money. But now Trump's like, yeah, we're going to give money. As of course, people are saying, this is only going to prolong the inevitable. This is only going to prolong the conflict. And the Ukrainians, early on, could have had the same borders that they had if they just agreed to a resolution, but the West got involved here and said, you know what? You're not going to agree to that peace deal. You're not going to sign that peace deal that you already did, that you already agreed to. You are going to, of course, continue to fight this war for us. As, of course, Ukraine, one of the most corrupted places on earth, is now acted as a vessel state for, of course, Western aggression against Russia. Russia has their aggression against their Baltic countries and other countries in the region as well. And again, I'm not a big purporter of Putin. I don't like Putin. My people, Polish people, don't like the Soviets and what they did to my people. But when we look at this entire situation, he has shown a lot of restraint too. And he started this conflict, but when it comes to escalations, let's be honest with ourselves, the Ukrainians are the ones escalating it, as they're the ones relying on very drastic actions and PR victories over, of course, the kind of slow roll that we are seeing from the Russians that are just gaining more and more territory. There's no going back from this. This type of head-on collision, this type of continuation of this military-industrial complex wet dream is sick, it's disgusting, and I think it needs to stop. And if you agree, share this video with your friends and family members. Hope to see a lot of you guys here in Milwaukee this Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.